Guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review. I was about to say Real Housewives. That's not what it is. It's Love After Lockup, and I think I'm 2 episodes behind, so we're catching up. You already know the number scheming is weird to me, but I think this is season 5, episode 33 and 34. So let's get into it. All right, y'all. So y'all know sometimes before we get into the review, we get a little spicy over here, just a little bit, and I want to talk about Hope and Arthur. So I've been seeing videos pop up on my FYP about allegedly Hope and Arthur and their drama, and Arthur possibly, as they saying, he locked back up. Now I just saw that there's like a $25,000 GoFundMe or something. I'm confused. So I went online to see if there was any information about the said altercation that happened and why he possibly may be back in jail. But the only thing I could find was a Reddit post and a few TikToks. And in the TikTok, that's how I found out that there was a GoFundMe. But in the Reddit post, someone had took screenshots of Arthur's mom in the comments answering questions about why her relationship with Arthur is so strained, as well as what happened between him and Hope and why he's locked up allegedly. So let me read those for you. So the first 2 posts are about her relationship with Arthur and why, they have issues. And then the last 2 posts is Arthur's mom explaining what I guess he told her as to what happened between him and Hope. So it says this. It says, when he was paroled and visited me in Cali, and the mom's name, by the way, on Instagram is Squeaky Stay Fly. So let me start over. It says, when he was paroled and visited me in Cali, he ended up disrespecting me again, and I fell back from him. Fell back from supporting him. When he went back, he had to realize that the smart mouth and the disrespect towards me got him. So I fell back and still did for him when I choose to, including visiting him. The longest he went without seeing me was close to 2 years out of the 11 years. All in all, I will never leave him to starve or feel unloved. But sometimes as a parent, I did have to back away and let him see. She then continues on by saying, yes, ma'am, keyword this time, because for the first 8 years straight, B was a regular bill in my house twice a month and I was paying on his books, flying and driving to see him, sometimes just me, sometimes them. And I think that them is the siblings. 2, renting hotels, rooms, cars, spending thousands to go see him for 2 or 3 days. But I respected his decision to stay, and she's meaning stay with Hope. I also warned him that she was going to be the one to get him locked back up so she could control their relationship, and she has gone to see him already. So I guess she's saying that he already got locked up and now she's going to see him already. So here's my thing. I don't negate what the mom is saying as him being disrespectful and her being like, you know what, I don't have to do all of this. But based off of the energy that she gave in the past 2 episodes that I saw, it doesn't seem like she's the type of person to sit down and listen to other people's feelings and wants, because the fact that he was crying at that table feeling like she didn't care, it leads me to believe that he wanted more from you than just monetary stuff. He wanted you to sit down and listen to him. And it's like he is telling us in the confessional, I didn't feel like I was a part of the family, mainly because all his other siblings have the same dad. Now, I don't know if that man is like their stepfather and he treated Arthur different because Arthur wasn't his, or if the other kids treated him differently. But for him to feel that way, that says a lot to me. And I also feel like she don't be listening to him. But I'm not saying she was wrong to be like, you know what, I can only do for you what I got now, and you just gonna have to deal with it, and you're not gonna be disrespecting me because at the end of the day, you the one locked up, not me. So the next 2 posts is pertaining to the situation that allegedly happened between Hope and Arthur. So she's responding to someone saying when they caught up to him, he was still unfortunately had her, GUN on him, but he never fired it. She was tested positive for GUN residue. He only is in the jailhouse because of her intentionally lying on him. It goes on to say he was trying to leave her apartment and she pulled the GUN out and tried to shoot and kill him, saying if she can't have him, nobody will. My son turned around just in time, but she ended up shooting herself, went to the hospital and told the police he did it. But recently she went to the detectives and admitted that she shot herself. So now I'm just waiting. Now, I'm be honest, I don't know how much I believe this story. I'ma just be honest. Because if she did, in fact, like, pew pew herself, that's, like, based off of the angle, they would know that she did that. And what it's kind of given is a DV situation where he, like, because I don't know, y'all. I don't know. Because why did they, like, if they can prove that she was the one that fired it, why he's still in jail? Why is he still in jail? I don't know. I don't know. And like, I mean, the mom already didn't like Hope. So I feel like if Arthur gave the mom that story, she was going to believe it anyway because she don't like the girl. Okay. But I don't know, y'all. Like, I mean, Hope could have done it. And it also could be a situation where he did do something to her. And now Hope is feeling some type of way because they in some toxic love cycle, because that's what this relationship give. And now she's like, she don't want him to be in there, so she gonna take the blame. We done seen it many times. But let's get into this. Since we talked about True and Arthur in the spicy corner, let's just get them out the way. So they just left the mom from the restaurant, and now they're in her truck, in her 18-wheeler, trucking along. And he's staring at her like she a hot pink cupcake. He just ready to eat her up, okay? And she's staring at him, talking about, you can never leave my side. It's giving toxic, okay? I don't know, Hope. Maybe what the mama said might be true, but, we don't know because I ain't seen no police report, okay? And so she's like, excited, but then her excitement kind of dwindles because Arthur ends up saying that, he don't really want to stay in the back of the truck, like where the bed is. He'd rather be in a hotel or an apartment. And now Hope feels some type of way because she was like, before you were fine with it, and then now since your mama said something about it being like prison again, now you don't want to do it. And he pretty much was like, kind of like, yeah. So we actually see them park the truck, get in a car together, and like drive to where her apartment is. So I guess they had been on the road because like when we first see them it's daytime, and by the time they get to the place for her to like park her car or park the truck, it's dark as hell. He get outside, he is just happy to be outside when it's dark. He's looking up at the stars. Arthur is just like, wow. And he ends up being like, you can't see this in prison. And then next thing you know, he howls to the moon like a werewolf, okay? It was a lot of feral energy. Honestly, a lot of feral and horny energy was happening throughout this episode 33. Because when I tell you, I was like, nobody want to get an STD test or use a condom before we slide in the, prison vagina and penis? Like Lil Wayne said it best. Safe sex is the best sex. You better use a latex. Come on now. What we doing? What are we doing? I said, none of y'all decided, hey, before we get down, let us both take a STD test and do what we got to do. Everybody said, no, I want it raw. I want prison penis raw, and I want prison vagina raw. No. So he howling. Hope is like, ugh. Like she's scared, but she like it because it's intense. Both of them need therapy, okay? So they pull up to her apartment. She has a really nice apartment. The view in her apartment is amazing. It's like a skyline view. I was like, oh girl, I would love that. I would love it. I really loved her view. So he is like, wow, like just taken aback by her apartment. And then, they start doing the things that they do and they shut the door on us. And I said, thank you. He on top of her kids. I said, I don't want to see all of that now. Okay. But she's nervous about being intimate with Arthur because before she was a lot smaller. She had a different hair color. She had darker hair, which looks the best on her. And she just, her body's different. They even showed us pictures when she had the hot pink hair and she was skinnier. But now she's different. Now, mind you, Hope, I'm just going to be honest, girl. This pink hair is not your color. It actually washes you out. I just have this thing about when like light skinned people like wear hair color that like washes them out. Like darker colors on light skinned people look so much better. And this pink, and maybe that's the issue. Maybe because the pink that Hope has in her hair is too light. And because the hot pink that she had in her hair, where when she was skinnier, looks way better on her. But this light color, girl, it's giving that you struggling, okay? You struggling now. I need you to go down to the beauty supply store. Cause there's a roll, get you some I think it's the Adora brand. Put some more color in there. Mind you, I think she would look better with like ruby red hair. I think that would look way better on Hope, like a red color. So it's the night after they do the things. They laying in bed together. They're both so like crazy that like he's still here, she's still there. Like she's just like, oh my gosh, like this feels surreal. Then she starts crying in bed, talking about, she hasn't been happy for a long time. And that like basically she was disappointed in herself for, I guess, cheating on him and not allowing him to like love her. And he kind of comforts her. Then he brings up the tattoo that she got on, like, I guess underneath her booty cheek that says man, where she was like, well, I did it because I sent you $300 to get your own tattoo while he was in there, and it was supposed to be like a portrait of Hope, like somewhere on his body, but he ended up getting like a rose or something. And so she felt some type of way, like she felt stupid. And I'm like, mind you, girl, man is not his name. I mean, I'm glad you just put man and you could get that easily covered up, but like I would have understood her more frustration more if it would have been Arthur underneath her booty cheek, but it just says man. And so she felt some type of way because she was like, well, you lied to me, because I guess every time she asked him about it, he was like, oh, I'm getting it touched up, I'm doing this. And he was like, basically, I didn't tell you because like the damage was already done. And that rubbed her the wrong way. So then we actually see them get into the kitchen. She's cooking dinner for him. And she ends up letting us know in the confessional, none of her friends like Arthur. They all feel like Arthur is using her like for her money. And mainly because she doesn't make that much on like a trucker's salary to like take care of two people. Versus like her just taking care of herself. So they're all just kind of like with the side eye when it comes to Arthur. So then we see her like on the, what's it called? Like, no, Arthur's like on the phone getting a text message from his mom, and she's kind of like, okay, because she don't like the mama either. So the feelings are mutual between them. But she's like, why you talking? Like, what are y'all about to do? And he was like, well, I want to go meet up with her. And he has to reassure her that he's not going to leave with the mom, because right now he doesn't know if he's either going to stay with Hope or stay with the mother. But we know now that he stayed with Hope and now he locked back up. And that's where they end. So let's talk about Troy and Zahir. So y'all know the last time we saw them, the family was upset. They was upset, and because they had went to the prison to pick up Troy. Troy ends up calling them frustrated, overwhelmed, scared, because instead of him being released to the family, he gets picked up by his parole officers. So the whole family hopped into the car and zoomed it down the street, following the car that he was in to make sure like they figure out where he is. So they're standing outside of the courthouse, waiting for Troy. And then he finally comes out and she's ecstatic. Her family's happy. They end up doing like a prayer circle, everybody's happy to see Troy. The crazy thing to me is like what the mom said, like this is Troy's family. It's time for him to be a man, be a father, be a husband and start paying these bills and all, provide. And I'm like, you are expecting this out of somebody who has spent more than 5 years in prison, right? And I'm like, I don't get why these people on this show get with people that they know have been incarcerated for some time, and then expect them to be able to like acclimate to society so quickly without having like PTSD or just like wanting to taste freedom for a minute, you know? And I'm just kind of like, y'all are expecting a lot out of him, okay? A lot out of him. To the point where when they were walking to the cars, the cop car pulled by and he pulling Zahir kind of close to him, and he was like, man, I still get nervous when I see a cop car. And she's like, oh, baby, that's PTSD. Yes, it's PTSD. Why are you expecting so much out of somebody that probably needs to be in therapy at least 3 times a week? Okay, 3 times a week. So they get to Zahira's car. Mind you, girl, I didn't know that they were color coordinating. That's the part that's wild to me. Because she got on green and she got on this is it evergreen? He got on evergreen pants and they both wearing white. I said, girl. Then she's like, I got you a money bouquet. And so he's looking at it and then it has a crown. She's like, here you go, because you're my king. I can't. That whole king and queen stuff, I don't like it. I really don't. Because if you think about the historical context of like king and queen, it's bloody and ruthless. A lot of those people that got married only got married for political reasons. And a lot of people say these things about my king, my queen, as in reference to like love and all of it. And it's not like the context in which you're using this is wrong to me. But I still don't like the fact that she giving him all this money, because it's really giving you trying to buy his love and affection, girl. But okay, she's happy because, they've been married for 2 years and they have yet to be intimate with each other. She kissing all over him. I said, girl, he ain't even taking a shower. And you doing all of this. She is horny as hell, okay? Zahira is horny as hell, all right? And then I didn't understand why she allowed him to drive. He been in prison for 7 years. He not driving nothing of mine, girl. Do he have a license? Like, if he went into prison, are we sure his license didn't expire? I'm confused. I am confused. So they get to the hotel room. She lied and said she spent $300 on decorations. I said, girl, this is giving very much Party City. At most, maybe $90. Maybe, with like the streamers and like the balloons. But then again, the letter balloons be like 50 or 75 cents a letter. And then the helium to put in it is not like, it don't cost that much. And I was like, they zoomed in on the petals. Them petals was real cheap, girl. Real cheap petals. They weren't real roses. I said, you doing a lot. So then Zahira in her confessional talking about, some people might say I'm doing too much, but I love to do this. I just feel like you're not doing enough. Girl. Okay. So then they get to the bathroom. She has a private steamer. And she's like, I just want to get the prison off of you. He needs to take a test. You need to take a test. Because I do believe everybody in a relationship, take these tests and be honest with your partners. But you thinking that steaming his private parts is going to like get the prison off of him? That is just warm, hot water, ma'am. Just like, that's not steaming nothing. That's not getting nothing off of him. So then she has like this bath for him. Like, I think it's like a spiritual bath. And I could not believe they showed this man in the tub. I said, what are we doing here? Why? Then she put a crown on his head and she put her ponytail up. Now, mind you, I thought she was about to, get the like slobbing on the knob. And I said, ma'am, I was like, this is I feel like I should not be watching this because it's giving very intimate. And I don't. So then they started making out and stuff. And I'm like, girl, you about to get in the tub with him? I honestly thought she was either going to touch the thing or she was going to put her mouth on it. And I was scared because I didn't want to see it. So then that's where that scene ends, with them making out while he in the tub. Let's talk about Kim and Joey. So Kim is going to like Asheville, North Carolina. She got a cabin for her and Joey. Now, mind you, Asheville does really have really nice cabins. They have a lot of themed cabins. So like, if you into that, I would definitely say check out Asheville. Mind you, also near the Asheville Zoo. It is a nice zoo, okay? And You can tell like the animals are really taken care of, but I just like the scheme of the zoo where it's like you can start off in Africa and walk throughout the whole entire zoo, or start off in North America and walk throughout the whole entire zoo, but each part of the zoo is split up by continents. It's so cool. It is so I just love going to that zoo when I get a chance. So Kim and Joey. So she decides, you know what, we gonna stay at the cabin before we go with the kids and stuff, just have our alone time. Now, she's nervous about Joey seeing her and them being intimate because she has put on weight since she had her kids, since Joey seen her. Now, mind you, Joey been in prison for 6 years. And when we see Joey, I said Joey shouldn't be having no issues about your weight because Joey look big too. Joey done put on some pounds too, based off of the old pictures I done seen of Joey. So she's nervous. She ends up going to sleep. She couldn't go to sleep. She wakes up and she was like, she threw up last night. She didn't go to bed till 3 a.m. and she had to be up around 5 a.m. So she's just like, her nerves are bad. And she said mainly it's because of the things that she's been thinking about, because she was like, Joey has cheated on everyone that he's been in a relationship with. And most of the women he's been in a relationship have been like, basically like scummy drug addicts. But then I'm looking at Kim like, who are you to judge those women when you about to lay down with a druggie? So I don't know why you trying to put this like like trying to like put distance between them women and you. They're drug addicts messing with a drug addict. You're supposed to be sober and you're purposely messing with a drug addict that you think is going to be a father. You are no better than them. At least they got common sense enough to know I'm a drug addict. He a drug addict. Let's be together. Ma'am. So we see her with his iPhone. So she bought him an iPhone and she puts on shared locations. He don't know nothing about that. So she can always know where he's at. On top of that, she put an air tag in one of his bags. And I'm like, if you have to do all of this, you don't need to be with him, Kim. Like, why? That's not my, it's different when it's children. Like, I understand tracking your kids, but a grown man is doing too much. And she also keeps bringing up how like the thing that will really like just tear her apart is if he goes back to that street life. And I'm like, he probably will. Honestly, y'all, we gonna get to that. So she pulls up to the prison. She's kind of confused because she's just like, I don't know where to go. It's been a while since I've been here, basically. And then we actually see Joey, and Joey a little hefty compared to the pictures we seen of Joey. And mind you, Joey been in prison for 6 years, so I would expect it. Because either way, you either come out of prison hulked up or a little chubby. You know, a little more bigger than what you should have when you came in. And so Joey is in the confession. Now, mind you, the way Joey was blinking, I said, Joey back on that stuff. I don't want to say it, but Joey, the way Joey's eyes was blinking, I was like, Joey, is you high right now? Is you? Because it's giving that you a little high, Joey. It was the blink. I said, Joey, no, Joey. And so she ends up like FaceTiming, like showing him how to FaceTime. And he was like, whoa, like this is not how we used to FaceTime back in the day. And so things have changed. You know, he's been in prison for the last 6 years. And it seemed like every 2 years we get something new. And so they end up taking a picture and she's just excited. They end up FaceTiming the kids and the mom. And she was like, the only thing that would make me upset is if Joey go back to that street life. And I said, girl, he already back at that street life. The way Joey was blinking, I said, Joey on that stuff, okay? Joey on that stuff. So the next couple we could talk about is Julian and Christina. Christina is ecstatic, okay, to be leaving Camp Cupcake. She in that car happy as hell. And Julian ends up giving her phone back. And so while she is like going through her phone, she finds out she got like over 4,000 emails. I'd be stressed out. And most of them are from her mom. And she ends up calling, I don't know what she called that lady, but they bleeped it out. And so we end up finding out that she does not have the best relationship with her mom. And so in the confessional, she ends up sharing that pretty much her mom didn't really want to be a mom. She was a single mom. And Christina was like, I spent most of my time with my great aunts. So like they were the ones that really raised me. And she said right around the time my mom wanted to be a mom, I was a teenager and I really didn't have nothing. I didn't want nothing to really do with her like that. So they've had a pretty strained relationship for a long time. She was like, her mom is always trying to tell her to get her life together. It seems like her mom is being very self-righteous, but I'm like, how can you be so self-righteous when you are the reason why she is probably like that? You discarded her because you couldn't handle your own issues. And then we find out that the lady took her child. So I guess Christina was struggling. She was on that stuff, and she was around with some really hard times, and she was calling her mom for help. I think she ends up having like 3 kids, like 2 twins. Well, not 2 twins, like twins and an older child. She called her mom, and her mom ended up, instead of like helping her, like for real, called CPS, and CPS took her kids, gave her mom the oldest kid, and the twins are with their father. And technically, she has like a court order in order to see her twins, but the father won't allow her. And then she doesn't really have the best relationship with the oldest one. So Christina is just like, I need to do what's right, but she don't really want to deal with her mama. And I said, that makes sense. That makes sense. If it's like, girl, I'm struggling and I'm asking you for help, and like you really haven't been there for me really in my life, and the one time I really need you, you do that where you call the people on me and get my child taken away, I would be very angry with you. And I'm not saying that like her child shouldn't have been taken away, because at the end of the day, like you shouldn't be doing drugs around your children, or like, you know, and if they could be in a better spot, then you definitely want them to be in a better spot. But it just seems like that lady ain't never treated Christina right. So they get to the hotel. Christina is as horny as a hero, ready to jump Julian's bones, because before she went to jail for the 8 months for violating parole, Julian was the last person she got busy with. So she ready. She straddles Julian, takes Julian's shirt off, and then she talking about, I'm getting in there raw. Ugh. She was like, we're adults. I said, adults use condoms too, Christina. Girl. And I said, y'all doing all of this with the cat in there? He got feelings too. You nasty. Let's talk about Letitia and Keith. So we open up the scene with her and she's getting like a back massage, and Keith ends up calling her, and she ends up telling him about how irritated she is with his sister. Supposedly the sister been going around the family speaking very negatively about Letitia, basically saying she not good enough for her brother. I said, your brother that's been locked up for 10 years, he better be glad he getting what he getting now. Okay. And so she says she thinks that she's mad about what happened the seasons before, where Letitia ended up spending like $15,000 on like a wedding ring or an engagement ring. And the sister has been like, you using my brother, blah, 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 blah. Now, Lakeith, I called him Lakeith. Keith is on the phone being like, I don't really know what they beef is really about, because I've been in here for 10 years, but I hope they fix it. So Letitia basically texts the sister like, girl, what she saying in that text, man? She said, I know we aren't on the best of terms, but I want to invite you to Keith's party. Oh, so she ends up having a party where she invites everybody, and she invites the sister, but she wants the sister to come so they can hash out their differences and move forward, because she feels like she don't want all this negative energy around Keith once he gets out. So we end up seeing the family come over to Letitia's house. We see the aunt that we seen before. I think her name was like Marcia. And then we see his dad and his mom. And then we see his younger sister, who I think she says she was like maybe 8 or 9 when he got locked up. And like you can tell she's a lot younger than him. So she might be in her 20s and he's in his 30s. So she's excited. You know, they're all sitting around, but the family doesn't know that he's about to be released early because of the whole law that's in Chicago. So they're having like a pizza night. Granted, it seems like Letitia is somewhat lying about the family being so close, because she was introducing her children to his mom and dad. So I'm like, y'all are married, but like they ain't really that close to the kids like that, because she introduced her oldest daughter to his father. And I'm like, that's her granddaddy now, I guess a step grandpa. So I'm just kind of like, I don't know, Letitia. And so they were waiting for the sister to get there, but she never came. And so Letitia says, I feel like that's an admission of guilt, that you have been going around the family talking trash about me. But honestly, she gonna have to get with it or get lost, because I'm not going anywhere. And like, he about to get out, so I want this to work for us. So I guess the family didn't know that he was getting out. The family doesn't know that he's getting out. So pretty much she ends up telling them that like he's coming home real soon. They get excited. She then does this whole thing where she's like, oh, I got another gift for you guys. And then she brings out this crown. It's like, my king's coming home. I said, girl. Okay, girl. Okay. So the last people we gonna talk about is True and Shantae. Shantae and True. Girl, Shantae wake up after their mediocre night of bliss because True is in his confessional talking about we went for 3 hours. She was like, it felt like having sex when I was 17 or 18. And that's when True went into jail when he was 18. He acting like he did something. I said, you got a lot to learn. So she wakes up. And she's like, I've been trying to call True. He's not picking up. I don't know what happened. We had a good night the night before. And I'm like, did I say something? Did something happen? But I keep calling and he's not calling me back. On top of that, I found out he didn't check in with his parole officer this morning, which that is what he's supposed to do. So she's still at the Airbnb. She done got dressed. She's sitting on the couch, irritated as hell. We find out that True is running around the town with his sister. And I guess they went shopping because most of the clothes that he had did not fit. So he wanted to get new shoes and new outfits. So they go to this place to go get something to eat. Mind you, his sister pull out this jewelry. Talking about, I know he like jewelry. Girl, that shit was from the dollar store or from the beauty store. Honestly, not the dollar store, but from the beauty supply store. Because it gave every bit of like, that's going to turn green in the next couple of days. But True was like, yeah, I'm iced out. I said, okay. It sounded like tinfoil clanking together. Mind you, what is up with him with the bandana around his hand? Is that gang affiliation? Because it's giving gang affiliation, sir. And so the sister is like, how are you and Shantae doing? And he's like, yeah, she cool and whatever, but like she too much of a homebody. And then he's like, well, I knew that. And the sister is like, so what you complaining about? She's like, well, she just be doing too much. Like, she want to stay home too much. Like, I want to go out. And he was like, on top of that, like, she always got an attitude when she speak to me. And she kind of do, but I feel like, True, you be doing stupid stuff like this. Why couldn't you just text her and be like, hey, I'm out with my sister? And True's like, I don't got to check in with nobody. I'm free. And the way that mindset is going to get you locked back up. Because this whole, like, I don't need nobody telling me what to do is stupid. And granted, I understand you've been in jail for a couple of years, like a while, sir. So I get not wanting to be tied down and wanting your freedom, but at the end of the day, you still got to answer to people, okay? So she keeps calling while he's sitting with his sister. He not responding or anything. He finally get home with some Wendy's, and she got an attitude, and he like, why you got an attitude? And she's like, I want to smack you in the mouth right about now. Like, I've been calling you all day. Why didn't you just tell me what's up? And she was like, where were you? He was like, with my sister. And she was like, is that true? Because I have brothers and I know sisters will cover for their brothers. And he's like, you don't believe me? And she looking at him like, no, I don't. And he was like laughing. And she was like, I don't see nothing funny. Like, I don't believe you. So then he calls his sister, and his sister ends up saying like, no, we went here, we went there. And she's like, oh, okay. And she was like, well, why couldn't you? He was like, if you would have just did what I wanted you to do the other day, then it would have been what it would have been. Like, we wouldn't have had to do this. And she was like, well, you told me to get them shoes. You said that was your shoe size. You said that was your size. And I told you to get another size. He was like, it don't matter. It does matter, dummy. So then they get into the car together. They driving down the road and everything. And she don't like him. She does not like him, and he don't really like her. They both feel some type of obligation to each other, but it's stupid at this point because True is like irritated that she does not communicate with him well, but they both don't communicate to each other very well. Like, anytime he say something she don't like, she feel like he being an idiot, which he is. So she was just like, you make things difficult, because she drops him off at the parole office, and I guess he got chewed out for not like contacting them in the morning. And he get in the car talking about, this should not feel like prison, or this should not feel like a job. And Shantae tells him, right, like, if you would have just did it in the morning, then you would have been fine. And I'm like, yeah. And True is like, I'm free. Yes, you are free, but free with limits and parameters. You have been in prison for, I think, like 12 or 13 years, sir. What did you expect? Did you expect them to just like let you, like, bro, are you serious? And so she ends up getting out the car talking about, I'm talking to an idiot. And then He says in his card, if this relationship fails, it's her fault. No, it's your fault because you don't communicate to her what you want or how things are supposed to go. Like, if I was Shantae, I would have dropped this man. Because, again, it's clear she don't really like him like that. And I think Shantae is the type of person where she thought it was cute when he was in prison, but now that he here, she like, oh, I really don't like you like that. And he's starting to feel the same way because it doesn't seem like y'all really like each other. I said, girl, go on and get away from me with this Apollo. So episode 34. Since we ended last episode with True and Shantae, might as well begin this episode with True and Shantae. So you got True and Shantae still kind of at odds. True still feels some type of way about Shantae's attitude. Shantae still feels like True is being an idiot when it comes to him not checking in his parole. So they're back at the Airbnb. They're sitting in the bedroom, and True basically tells Shantae, I think that maybe we should call off this like engagement and go back to dating. Shantae is like, what? And he's like, yeah, like, I feel like we don't really know each other and I'm just overwhelmed. Basically, what he telling Shantae is like, you're boring. You're too much of a homebody. You don't like, you trying to control me right about now. And I don't feel like being controlled because I've been incarcerated for 13 years. Like, being tied down to you is too much. At least I know if you my girlfriend, I'm probably not going to feel bad cheating on you because you're not my fiance or my wife, you know, basically. And so Shantae is just like, so you're telling me you either, you don't, she ends up clarifying, she's like, so you're telling me you either want to be friends or dating or still engaged, or we're calling off the, like, what do you want to do? And he's like, I think we should be dating. So then she asked him, like, so do you want to be exclusive? And he was like, yeah, he was like, I still want to go back with you to Independence where her family is and with her kids and stuff. And parole, he's like, we just need to get to know each other better. I don't think True is wrong, but I also feel like it's a little too late. Why would you be in, like, it's just, this whole situation is dumb because neither one of them really are communicating their feelings to me very clearly, and it doesn't even seem like they like each other like that. It seems like they're both settling because they don't think they can get any better at this point. Because I'm like, True, you really not feeling her. And Shantae, you really not feeling him. But Shantae feels like she spent 3 years of her life, like put her life on the line and did all these things for him that like she don't want it to go to waste. So then we see them do outside confessionals where True basically said this probably wouldn't be an issue if she came and visited me. And if you watch Love during lockup, the mom and the sister asked like why she never went to the prison, because she never went to visit him in them 3 years. And she always was like she has her reasons, but she never explained what her reasons were. So he's like, basically if she would have came and seen me, it would have been different, because like I guess the way his what do they call it? His visits in prison were at least like 4 hours long. And I mean, I'm not like, he not wrong. If they probably met in person, it would have been easier for them to gauge whether or not this was going to be a relationship that was going to work or not. So Shantae is just upset because she feels like she got played. So when she does her confessional outside, she started crying, basically saying she feel like she wasted 2 years of her life and this is not what she expected. So it's nighttime and they both ended up sleeping in separate rooms. So it's the next day. True is asking her like how she feeling. She in a mood, basically saying she couldn't get any sleep last night. She was tossing and turning and basically had a lot on her mind. True is like dressed up in like workout clothes, and she like, where you going? Because he then gets a call on the phone and his sister, and he's like, oh, I'm going to go work out with my sister. And she's like, okay. She thinks he's going to go cheat on her. And I mean, I don't know. We don't know if she wrong or right about now, but I do agree with her not being able to trust his family, because the sister to me is moving funny. Hella funny. Like, she didn't even come into the house to greet Shantae. It was very much like she called her brother and he went outside. Like, yeah, girl, it's given like you don't want to get to know her. So just in case your brother does cheat on, like when your brother cheats on her, you won't feel any obligation to her because y'all not friends like that and you don't have a relationship with him like that, with her like that. Because I was like, yeah, I don't like this. So he's in the car with his sister. They're driving to the gym. He's excited because in the prison gym, they don't have mirrors. And he was like, I've seen the way gyms look like on TV. So he's super excited. So while on the ride there's a phone call from the sister's friend, Tasha. I guess him and Tasha used to talk, but then it fizzled out. But she was like, yeah, I'm going to come pull through. And pretty much based off of what True is saying, he talked to a whole bunch of girls while in the midst of talking to Shantae, because he was like, all my buddies have told me, like, once you get out, the girls that you was talking to on the phone or while you was in here gonna be on you like never before. So he's excited for that. And we end up seeing the girl pull up, but we don't see what she looked like. So we don't know what happens, because that's how the episode ends. The thing we get is of Joey and Kim. And girl, I don't know why they be wanting to tell us how they like having raw sex. I just don't know. So they get out they're leaving the cabin. They both had a lovely time. You know, Joey's just happy to be sleeping next to Kim and not in prison. So they get in the car. She letting him drive too. I don't understand what's up with y'all letting people who've been in prison for like 8+ years or 5 or 6. Girl, you could be in prison for a month and I'm not letting you drive. I don't, I was like, when your license expired by then, like, what are we doing? So they're driving, going back home. We find out that it's actually like Christmas Eve, the day that they're driving back to Eden, North Carolina, where Kim lives. And so they stop at a toy store. But while they're going there, Kim is like, are you excited? He was like, yeah. And she was like, are you nervous about seeing the kids, like meeting her kids? And he's like, no, kids are like puppies. And Kim was like, and I said, girl, first of all, Joey making that comment about like he wants a baby with his blood. I said, yeah, girl, you might need to watch how Joey treats your kids. Okay. So they're in the car and I'm just like, yeah, Joey, I don't know. And so he's like, well, he was like, I'm just joking. He's just like, I'm not worried. Like, I feel like it'll be okay. So they stop at the toy store on their way home. Mind you, I hope I never have to give a man my credit card and he not doing the reverse to me and giving me his. Cause she pulled out that credit card like it was nothing, and then gonna say, Kim says she don't mind being a sugar mama for a little while. Girl, it's gonna be longer than a little while, because I don't know if Joey can keep a job, because them confessionals got me worried. The way Joey, it's the eyes, bro. It's the eyes. It's the eyes, Joey. So he goes in there. Why does he spend like $300 on toys? And mind you, I don't even think those toys were like name brand toys, because it looked like a mom and pop toy store. So I was feeling like it was mostly like toys that were possibly like unwell known brands or like common brands, but I didn't see no Barbie, I didn't see, Legos in there. I'm trying to think of toys, Transformers, I didn't see anything of that in there. It kind of reminded me of like the toy area in a Cracker Barrel, to be honest. So he comes out, they wrap the toys for him. And mind you, they did a good job wrapping them toys. I suck at wrapping Christmas presents. That's why everything I buy goes in a bag. Just put some tissue paper on top of it. And so she's like, Joey, and they're in the car, and she's like, how much did you spend? And he was like, 3 something. And she said, and he was like, well, that's nothing. She was like, I had to make a good first impression with the kids. And then she talks about how she only getting paid $15 an hour on a teacher's assistant salary. I'm like, well, girl, just a couple of episodes ago, you was acting like it was nothing for you to be dropping stacks on this man. Kim. So then she was like, I need Joey to understand we not gonna be selling dope. And I said, girl, I don't know, then why would you get with a drug addict who went to prison for stealing and selling dope? I don't know. So then we actually get to see the kids and Joey's mom, and they all embrace. The kids are super happy. They end up all putting on the same pajama pants, sets and all of that stuff, and like redecorating the tree, leaving cookies for Santa. It was like a sweet moment, but then when you think about it, it's like, girl, I don't think this is going to work out for you, Kim, but peace be with you. Let's talk about Troy and Zahir. So she happy she didn't get dick fished. She's like, it was better than what I expected. They went for 3 hours. We see her telling her sister that. They finally pull up to her place, and the little boy is happy. Like, he is overjoyed that Troy is there. He is jumping on Troy, like full body, like jumping on Troy. Troy is happy to see the kid, happy to be there, He's still kind of trying to figure out his feelings because, like, even though Troy is saying he's happy, his body language is giving, like, oh, wow, like, this is real, in my opinion. We then see Zahir pull Troy to the side and pull out a gift and tell him, like, this is the gift you bought him, and then give it to the little boy. And I'm like, girl, I hope you're not doing that, like, all the time. So I get it, like, right now, Troy ain't got no money of his own, but I hope you're not buying things and then putting his name on it saying that it came from Troy, because that's crazy to me. But the little boy is happy that he's home. He calling Troy his dad. We find out about, like, they give us more backstory about the whole birth certificate thing. So basically, the biological father never has really been there for the little boy. He don't even pay child support. But then I'm like, is he still incarcerated? Because if he is, I don't think he can pay child support. But Troy was like, let me sign the birth certificate so I can prove to you that, like, I'm not going anywhere, that I'm here for your son, and that I want to be in both of y'all's life. So he signed the birth certificate. He's happy to see the little boy because he's like, his dad passed away, so he never got that connection, but he wants to build that with the little boy. The sister is uncomfortable. Like, she feels very awkward, and she's just like, I don't know if I can live here, because we know the sister lives with Zahira. And I was like, well, girl, you might want to start saving so you can, do your own thing. We find out that Troy's mom is coming to stay with them for a little while. And Zahira says she don't really have the best relationship with his mom. She ends up saying, like, you got to take her in doses. And then Troy ends up saying that he has a lot of resentment towards his mom because she never really came to visit him while he was in prison. On top of that, like, she acts more like a friend than a mother. So he's always been looking for motherly love. And since he lost his dad at a young age, it's always just kind of been them. So it's a lot going on there. So we find out that the mom is coming into town by a train, and the little boy and I think the sister are going to stay with the parents, or the sister is staying there and the little boy's going to go stay with the grandparents. And, his mama's coming, but he's going to go pick her up at the train station. So he goes to the train station. Mind you, I'm like, why is he driving your car, Zahira, without you in it? Okay, girl. So he goes to the Amtrak's, station to go pick the mom up. I already knew the mama was a problem. I saw that eyebrow piercing and that piercing right here. Every time I've met somebody that's a woman with an eyebrow piercing right here, it's either they could be like the nicest and kindest person you will ever meet, or they are such bitches and you don't want no parts of them. And it seems like that is what Troy's mom is, but she trying to turn her life around. But I promise you, anytime I have met a girl with the piercing right here, like, they've either been really, really super nice and kind, or they've been really bitchy and mean and nasty. So I was like, ooh, mama. So Troy and the mom meet. She's so excited to see him. She's crying, like, oh my gosh, because she says her son went in there as a boy, now he's a man. And remember, I think Troy had been in there for like 6 years. So they're hugging on each other. And Troy gets straight to the point. He was like, why you ain't come and visit me? And the mom ends up being like, alcohol. Like, you seen me in a really bad state when I was drunk, and I didn't think you deserved that. And I realized, like, that stuff it's not serving me. It doesn't serve me to be that way. And I want to be better. And he's like, well, I want us to be better together. Like, I want us to grow together. Like, all I got is you and now my wife and my son and her family. Like, I want us to come together. And so the mom is like, yeah, but I definitely think, like, if don't try to force nothing with us too, basically. Like, if it's not working, don't force it. Okay. And then she also says, like, it's time for you to really get to know your wife, because the only way you have known her has been when you have been incarcerated. So that's something totally different. And she not wrong. She definitely not wrong. That's what people are in prison versus what they are outside of prison are totally two different things. So the mom is just like, I want them to last and I want it to work, but the mama bearing me. I said, girl, he pretty much says you not his mama like that. So I don't know why you trying to do that. But she was like, I'm excited for them pretty much. I said, okay, lady. All right, let's talk about Keith and Letitia. Girl, it don't look like Keith about to get out anytime soon. So pretty much, Letitia's at home. We see Aunt Marsha's. Aunt Marsha's shirt and fit was cute. Okay, it said bitches is weird in black, pink, and like white, and then she had the jacket with the same lettering. I was like, girl, Marsha, drop the low, like, drop the link so I could go get me a jacket or a shirt, girl, because that's cute. So Marsha is there to take her kids to take Letitia's daughters to school, because Letitia is like, she got a lot going on right now. She's overwhelmed with the prospect of Keith about to be released, and it's any moment at this point. So she's just like, okay, like she's trying to prepare. She also let Marsha know that she found out that the public defender that was assigned to Keith's case put in a request to be like removed from the case. So she don't know what's going on. Then we find out that they also paid this guy named Ben, who's an attorney, to help like move the case along. And we see a flashback where she talked to him like 3 weeks ago. But she also let Marsha know that there's this pink slip from the sheriff's that was put on her door, and she don't know what it is. And so Marsha is like, let me take a picture and call Keith, but you need to call that to make sure it ain't got nothing to do with him being released. And she's like, okay, cool. So she calls the number. And the first thing the person on the phone ends up saying is like, have y'all been putting in a whole bunch of like immediate release requests? And she's like, well, we put in a few, but she was like, has your husband put in the request like in prison? And she was like, I don't think so. And then next thing you know, let me see, y'all. Next thing you know, the lady reads on his file non-applicable here, or NA. So basically saying he's not eligible for immediate release. And she's not, so the law that she's been talking about like, he served 80% of his sentence, he should be let go, it doesn't apply to him. So Letitia's like, what do you mean? And the lady on the phone basically tells her like, lady, I can't give you no legal counsel or explain anything further to you. All I can do is read what's off the file. So you might want to contact your attorney to have them explain it to you. So then we see Letitia calling Ben, the attorney that she said her and Keith like paid a whole bunch of money to, but he not responding to her. And like she's calling like back to back, and it seems like Keith is sending, no, not Keith, but the attorney is sending her straight to voicemail. So then Letitia's like, you know what? Bump this. She grabbed her jacket, she grabbed her purse, and she said, I'm about to pull up on him. And then that's where that scene ends. So our last couple is Bianca and Daniel. Bianca is 23 years old and she is unemployed. Daniel is 31 years old and he's been in jail for 4 years for aggravated DUI and third-degree burglary. We find out that Bianca has been born and raised in this town in Florida and has never left Florida, but she paid up like 4 or 5 months worth of rent for an apartment in Scottsdale, Arizona, where she is now moving to be with Daniel once he is released. So we see her sitting in her, her old bedroom packing with a friend, and the friend is desperately trying to plead with her like, girl, you sure about this? Like, I know you love him, but like love ain't enough. And you've been paying for a lot of stuff. Like a lot of stuff. Like, do you think he's going to reciprocate that for you? And Bianca's like, I get that you like are worried about me, but I'm doing this and it's my life. So then we see them sit in the den. Bianca's like, I just need a drink to calm my nerves. And so we find out that like she has this scar on her neck, like right here, like I guess like right here, where unfortunately her and her friends were out drinking. One of her friends, she couldn't tell, was too drunk, got in the car, and the girl actually like was driving like she was going to the airport and like slammed their car into a wall, and Bianca got cut so bad that she couldn't talk for like 6 or 7 months. And what ended up happening was like while she was in bed unable to talk, she for some reason decided to email a prisoner with a DUI. I don't know, to understand. I don't know. But honestly, if I'm being honest, Bianca is giving that she has a drinking problem, because you talking about you need a drink. You also saying that you're not going to stop drinking, and like you didn't know your friend was drunk. But if your friend is your size, Girl, yeah, I feel like you knew something. But I don't know what happened to the friend because we end up finding out that Bianca came into some money because of the accident. So I don't know if the friend died or if the friend had to pay Bianca for what happened, or if Bianca was able to get some type of settlement out of the situation. But she was in the hospital. She decides to drive to the airport where the situation happened. And I was like, what bar were y'all at where y'all were at the airport? Like, the bars are normally far as hell from the airport, but she said they was out drinking and that happened. So she's there. She ends up almost having a panic attack by revisiting the ramp where her friend rammed them into a wall. And so she's freaking out. We then end up seeing her meet up with her friend named Andres, who we find out like they've been friends since high school, and they've always were like this and everything. They were reminiscing about classes that they took in high school. And so then Andres, we find out like their friendship kind of like paused for a minute because he got sent to rehab. And so while he's in the car with Bianca, he's asking questions like, are you prepared for this? Like, what about, like, you about to be out there by yourself? Because we find out that like she's going out there a month in advance, so she's going to be out there by herself. Also, she's never left the state of Florida, so it's a new state. It's all the way across this country, and now she's going to be by herself. So then Andres basically was like, what about like the halfway house? So Daniel is saying that he not staying in the halfway house. Like, he'll check in there, but he's not staying in there, and like he don't want to be there. And Andres is like, he gonna have to stay there. And Bianca was like, well, we don't know what's gonna happen. And Andres is like, he's going back to jail if he doesn't stay at the halfway house. I'm like, yeah, what are you talking about, Daniel? What are you talking about? So then they pull up to this like dog park area, and she's on the phone with him. She got an attitude because she told him to she told Daniel to call her at 12 o'clock. Because that was around the time that she was going to be visiting the site where she got into the accident. And so she's on the phone being like, why didn't you call me? And he was like, well, I just got out of class. She was like, that's a lie because you told me class ends at 12. He was like, well, I was, the time change and all of that stuff, which is true. They're on a different time change. She was like, well, I needed you to call me because I went and visited the site and I almost had a panic attack. Like, and he's like, oh, my bad, baby. And she was like, don't baby me. Like, you're supposed to call me. Like, you could call me when I tell you to call me. I was like, yeah, you're delusional. You got alcohol, like you might be an alcoholic, and you're controlling. You doing a lot, Bianca. Go to therapy. And Daniel know better. So then Andres gets the phone, and Andres is like, I think like you're gonna go like he was like, you gonna treat her right? He's like, I treat her like a beauty queen. You don't know this little girl. And then she ends up Andres ends up telling him like, you should stay in the halfway house. And he was like, well, you've been there. And he was like, yeah, and you should stay. And he's like, okay. And Andres ends up saying he don't really like Daniel based off of the responses. And I get it. Daniel was very flippant on the phone. But I'm with Andres. You need to talk to him. You need not talk to him, but like he needs to stay in the halfway house. Like that's what you're supposed to do. Like if you trying to stay sober. So then we see Bianca and Andres sitting outside talking. And Andres is like, are you going to stop drinking? Because I think you should probably stop drinking around him so he doesn't like relapse. And she was like, well, I don't think I have to. Like, he's working really hard. Like, I feel like he'll be okay. And Andres is looking at her like, you're dumb. No, you shouldn't drink around him. I just told you I had to go to rehab, girl. Like, I'm trying to tell you what's the game is. So then they decide to go inside because Daniel's mom calls. And Daniel's mom basically reiterates, like, I think you two will be great together. You're not going to drink around him, right? Because drinking is going to make him relapse to drugs. And Bianca kind of was like, oh. But she was like, yeah, no, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. Then the dad gets on the phone and he was like, are you mentally stable? She's like shocked that he asked. And I was like, the daddy is asking poignant questions. Why are you 23 years old dating a convict who is 31 years old with a drug problem, who likes to steal and drink and drive? Are you mentally stable, Bianca? See, go to therapy. So then she tells Andres that she was kind of taken aback by the dad and she didn't like what he had to say. Like, that's his role model. Yes, if you don't like what the daddy has to say and you're like, I don't know about him, then you should probably feel that way about Daniel. And then she's like, well, I think the mom doesn't know. Like, Daniel's been working really hard. Like, I think he's gonna do really well with his sobriety. Daniel says on the phone, they show on the phone that he has not been sober while he's been inside prison. He has relapsed several times. And he was kind of worried about her drinking around him. Girl, this is disaster. This is disaster. And I really do feel like Bianca is living real fast and loose because she had this near-death experience and she dealt with this trauma of getting cut and not being able to talk, that she's just doing whatever. Because all her friends keep saying that Bianca is very impulsive, and this is such a stupid, impulsive decision to uproot yourself at 23 years old to live in another state that you've never been to by yourself, to then be with an addict, and then you're also selfish because everyone is telling you, hey girl, I don't think you should drink around him because that could impact him, but you don't care because you don't want nobody controlling you. This is a disaster. Yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all. And if you have made it this far, I appreciate you. As always, remember to be bravely authentic and definitely hop down in them comments below and give me your thoughts. And I'm out, y'all. Deuces.